In this video, we're going over the 4% rule, and this is kind of an older idea when it came to retirement. It's more of a philosophy that you should be able to withdraw 4% of your retirement savings or investments each year and use it as income. And the idea of this is that you want to be able to withdraw enough to live off your savings and investments, but without having them grind all the way down to zero. So it really is somewhat of a balancing act where you want to be able to have enough income to survive and live the retirement you want to live, but you also don't want to be taking way too much from your retirement savings where now you're going to be out of retirement savings in a few years and then have to go back to work. So it is about finding that perfect balance. If you take too much out of your retirement savings, eventually you're not going to have enough left. And then if you also don't take enough, you won't have enough income to survive. And again, that's where that 4% rule comes from. That's seen as like that perfect balance for most people. So let's take a look at a hypothetical example. Let's say your retirement savings, you have a 401k built up for $550,000, a Roth IRA account built up over $250,000, and then an E-Trade you set up when you were younger that's worth $350,000. And I know those numbers seem like a lot, but you got to think that if you've been building these accounts for 30 plus years, they will be at these levels. So we're going to look at four things. We're going to look at the total value of your retirement savings, what it's going to look like when you withdraw 4% from that, the average gains you could expect from these accounts, and then what it will look like at the end of the year after you do the withdrawal and the gains. So for the all savings value, you're just going to add all three of those up, and that's going to be over $1,100,000 right there. And then if you're going to take 4% withdrawal from that, you just times that by 0.04, which means you're going to be withdrawing $46,000 in a year based on that number. If you want to get that to a monthly, you would then divide that by 12, which is going to give you $3,833. And again, that's the number that you're going to use for your income in your retirement. So now let's look at the average gain. So again, same starting amount, and again, you should expect to gain about 5% on average per year. Again, you're going to have some years where it's more, some years less, but 5 is a good number. So that means you're going to be gaining on average $57,000 from this account. And so our next year account value, we're going to take into account the withdrawal plus the gains. So we're going to subtract $46,000 for the withdrawal and then add $57,500 for the gains. And so when you do that, that's going to give you this number right here. And as you can see, that the savings actually still grew by $11,500. And that's another reason why people like the 4% rule, because if your average gains are 5% and your withdrawal is 4%, means you're still gaining a little bit per year rather than shrinking your accounts. So let's look at another example here. We're going to take this same one and we're going to actually try to figure out your retirement income per month off this in as realistic of a scenario as possible, because we want to include the taxes too. So our 4% withdrawal monthly was $3,833. We also want to subtract taxes because you will have to pay taxes on that because that's going to be considered income. And so that's going to be $3,833 times 0.75, which again, that's assuming roughly 25% for taxes. And because you have some retirement accounts, you're going to get less in taxes, but you will have to pay some taxes on that. So that's going to give you $2,875 of retirement income based off just your savings account. But you're also going to have other sources. Again, let's say you're taking Social Security. Let's say you and like a friend invested into one rental property, and then again, of course, your 4% withdrawals. So you add all those up, and that's going to get you your total monthly retirement income that you're living off of. So let's say you're taking $2,000 from Social Security. Let's say your one rental property is getting you $750 of income each month. And then our money that you will actually get are from our 4% withdrawals after the taxes. It's going to be $2,875. You add all those up. So your total monthly retirement income with all those factors is going to be $5,624. And again, is this enough to live in retirement? That's going to depend strictly on the person. If you want to live some super fancy, luxurious retirement, travel everywhere, that might not be enough. But if you are content just kind of chilling, hanging out, that's going to be plenty. So it's really going to depend on the person. And on that note, let's take a look at another example. And let's say this one is like you just are tired of working. You don't have as much as that last person had built up, but you got a 401k and a regular IRA, no other investment accounts, and you built up $485,000 in your 401k and invested $265,000 in your Roth. So that totals $750,000. Let's do the 4% rule. Take 4%. It's going to be $30,000 per year. If you want to get it monthly, divide it by 12. So $2,500 per month you're getting from your retirement savings. And again, we want to do this as realistically as possible. So let's include the taxes. So let's assume taking out 25% for taxes, so 75% is left. So that means you're going to have $1,875 left. So let's say you're only taking Social Security and you don't have a rental property or anything, so you're just getting income from Social Security and your 4% withdrawals, which was $1,875. So add those together, that's going to give you $3,725 that you're living off of in retirement. And again, it's going to depend on the person. Some people that might be plenty, some people that might not be enough. It really depends on what you want to do in retirement and about finding that perfect balance and finding that perfect zen.